Jesus is called shepherd 3 times in the New Testament. And each time he's called shepherd, a very special adjective is put in front of the word shepherd to show his role in people's lives. In John 10:11, Jesus is called the good shepherd. The emphasis is on laying down his life for the sheep. Hebrews 13:20, Jesus is called the great shepherd, with the emphasis on the resurrection and on how he accomplishes his purposes through his sheep. And then in 1 Peter 5:4, he's called the chief shepherd, which stresses his second coming and his reward to the under shepherds. Jesus as the good shepherd means he dies for the sheep. As the great shepherd, he rises for the dead. And as the chief shepherd, he returns to reward his people. Welcome to the 260 Journey. And we are in John chapter 10, and we are speaking about the good shepherd today. Before I tell you about the good shepherd, we have to realize our role as sheep. That's how the Bible describes all of us. Isaiah 53:6 says, we are all like sheep who've wandered off and have gotten lost. We've all done our own thing and have gone our own way. Notice the emphasis on the word all in that Isaiah passage. That means all of us are included, no one excluded. We are all sheep. Sheep is not a flattering term, but it really is appropriate. Have you ever noticed that there are no colleges or universities that use sheep as their mascot? It's always something very vicious, majestic, or even strong. It's the LSU Tigers or the University of Michigan Wolverines, Kentucky Wildcats. No one uses sheep. It's not the Alabama sheep or the UCLA sheep. Doesn't even sound right. Why? Because of who sheep are. Sheep are easily frightened. They are defenseless and they are highly dependent. They need guidance and protection. It may not be complimentary to be a sheep, but it is comforting to know we have a good shepherd, and that changes everything. Listen to Jesus' words in John 10:11. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. John 10 is about a relationship between the good shepherd and the needy sheep. Sheep have no chance unless they have a shepherd, and not just a shepherd, but a good shepherd. Always remember, you never graduate from being a sheep the older you get in Jesus. We always need the shepherd. We always need him. The chief enemy of the sheep is the wolf. Sheep have no defense mechanism but the shepherd. And here is what is so important. Sheep are as strong as the shepherd. If he fails, they fail. What the wolf does is scatter them. Why? So he can isolate them away from the shepherd. If he can get you and me away from the shepherd, then he can devour the sheep. He scatters, then he isolates, and then he has the helpless, defenseless sheep to himself. Here's how Jesus puts it in John 10. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd puts the sheep before himself, sacrifices himself if necessary. A hired man is not a real shepherd. The sheep mean nothing to him. He sees a wolf come and runs for it, leaving the sheep to be ravaged and scattered by the wolf. He's only in it for the money. The sheep don't matter to him, but I am the good shepherd. I know my sheep, and my own sheep know me. Sheep are known by their shepherd. They are known 2 ways. Sheep know their name, and they know the voice of the shepherd who calls it. So we have one job as sheep. Stay close to the shepherd, and when you do, you are literally in earshot of his voice. He is our protection. He is our provider. I heard this story about a man in Australia who was arrested and charged with stealing a sheep, but he vigorously protested that it was one of his own that he had been missing for many days. When the case went to court, the judge didn't know how to decide the matter. Finally, he asked the sheep to be brought into the courtroom. Then he ordered the plaintiff to step outside and to call the animal. The sheep made no response except to raise its head and to look frightened. The judge then instructed the defendant to go out to the courtyard and call the sheep. When the accused man began to make his distinctive call, the sheep ran toward the door and that voice. It was obvious that he recognized the familiar voice of his master. His sheep knows him, said the judge. Case dismissed. Our shepherd calls us each day. Let's follow his voice. Thanks for joining the 260 Journey.